Thank you so much, Jim. First of all, I want to congratulate you for being here. It says a lot about you if you're taking the time out to be here to learn and grow with us. Kudos to you. But we can't ignore what has happened in the world due to this pandemic and the virus. And if you've lost loved ones during these times, truly my heart and my prayers go out to you. Most of us, or I'd venture to say all of us, have been affected in some way or another because of what's happened. Yet I am convinced that you can have joy despite circumstances. And that's what I'll be sharing with you today. Having joy despite circumstances, enjoying your life where you are. To that end, I'm going to share why I believe that even through challenges, you can have joy. And also, I'll talk about 4 different ways by which you can do so. Why do I believe that you can have joy despite circumstances? There are several reasons, but the main reason is because of my journey, how far I've come. A little more than 10 years ago, my husband came home earlier than expected from work. He found me laid out in our living room floor in the duplex that we were renting. And I can't imagine the horror he must have felt when he saw his wife laying there. I was grayish in skin tone, and my life was almost drained out of me. I was unresponsive. What happened was something horrible, that I had tried to take my life, unthinkable as it must have been. You see, even though I had a relationship with God, even from a very early age, like many of us, I still experienced challenges throughout life. For me, some of those challenges were early childhood abuse, chronic health conditions, career disappointment, severe depression, and anxiety. The depression got worse and worse with time, that by this point, I felt my future was grim. I was hopeless. I felt abandoned by God and useless, like a total failure. I was tired of the pain of living, and in desperation, I prepared a toxic cocktail determined to end my life. But thank God, my husband came home earlier than expected that day. He rushed me to the ER, and they saved me. Looking back, though, my life wasn't that bad. I had a roof over my head, a husband who took care of me, family that loved me. What happened is that I had magnified those negative things. I allowed them to overpower my mind, which brought me to that awful decision. But since then, I've had to practice what I call healthy happiness habits that have absolutely transformed my life. So much so that I haven't had to take prescription antidepressants in about 10 years. I wrote about my healthy happiness strategies in the chapter of the book that I wrote. And since then, I've found more and more ways. Through that journey is how I learned that you can be happy despite challenges. But how? Let me share some of those ways with you today. The first way is finding what brings you joy. Write down 20, 100, 1,000 things if you can. Start with a few each day. My examples are, the biggest ways that I find joy are knowing God loves me and gratitude. Knowing God loves me is so special to me, and I knew this in my head in the past, but God revealed it to me in a deeper way. When we were living in Florida, we were in our house, And it was hard for me to function still at this time because of the health issues. And I was lying on my couch trying to figure life out, trying to figure out what to do with myself. Okay, honestly, I was trying to not have yet another pity party. But at that moment, God revealed to me that He loved me unconditionally and that His love was independent of my performance. Still to this day, it's hard to explain the absolute freedom that I felt at that moment. That no matter what I did or I didn't do, God loved me wholly and unconditionally. So freeing and reassuring. Like I said, gratitude is something else that brings me joy. And when I'm gloomy, it's what brings me in a more positive state in a snap. But back then, in those dark times, I couldn't fathom being grateful for anything. I used to listen to Joyce Meyer back then, and she would say, well, before you get up in the morning, thank God that you were able to open your eyes, that He gave you breath, that you have legs to walk with. I didn't want to wake up and face the day at those times. But since then, as I've been noticing little things, big things, everything in between to be grateful for, it's gotten so much easier. One of the things that I learned to be grateful for is indoor plumbing. And this is because my husband was in the National Guard in Florida, and there was an impending hurricane. He sent me off with some family members. We convoyed to his aunt and uncle's house in Georgia. The storm, it caught up to us, but thank God we only lost electricity. However, you need electricity to flush the toilets. Can you imagine a house full of people with non-functioning toilets? I am so grateful for indoor plumbing. That was number one, finding what brings you joy. Number two is to commit and apply these things. I encourage you to schedule it, write it in your calendar, put sticky notes all over your house to remind you. What I do is I have a joy alarm, and it goes off every day to remind me to ask myself, Violet, what have you done today to bring you joy? The next one is to put negativity on a not to-do list. Many of us have to-do lists. Experts say you should also have a not to-do list where you write down the things that you commit to not doing. I encourage you, put negativity on that not to-do list. And I understand that you may have to grieve for a period of time, but don't stay stuck there. And if you were like me, having a hard time to be happy in any sort of way, please reach out to somebody. There's caring people out there waiting for you to call, like mental health professionals, clergy. There's crisis hotlines, and I'll share that number in one of the slides at the end of this presentation. I don't know if you've heard of the parable of the two wolves that are living inside of us. This is my twist on that parable. You have a happy wolf and a negative wolf battling inside of you. Which one is going to win? The one you feed. I encourage you, feed that happy wolf. Let the happy wolf win. To conclude, I've shared with you why I believe that you can have joy despite circumstances and 4 ways that hopefully will help you how. You may think that my story is outrageous, and It was so uncomfortable for me to revisit that terrible time and sharing it here publicly. But if it can help one person, if it can bring one person hope, if it can help you to know that you can have joy despite circumstances, it was worth it. If I broke out of that mental prison of despair and feel much more fulfilled, I know that you can live with joy no matter what the circumstances are too. And here is, I'm going to share with you this slide with the crisis number on there. Please share it with somebody you know, especially during this time. And you can also get a free digital copy of my chapter for my best-selling book. Just go to that tiny URL there. Here are also different ways to connect with me.